we are going to the last part of the first section on surgery. This topic is going to deal with surgical site infections. Surgical site infection, we are going to deal with this. So, one of the important topic again for national board examinations, and every year we are getting at least 1 or 2 questions from this topic on surgical site infection. So, to understand surgical site infection, you should first of all know what are the types of wound. What are the types of wound we have? There are totally 4 types of wound we have. Types of wounds. So, the wound type 1 is clean wound. It's a clean wound. Clean incision is made and the surgery is clean surgery. Then clean contaminated wound. Clean contaminated wound. Then contaminated wound. And the last one is dirty wound. These are the 4 types of wound. Clean wound, clean contaminated wound, and 4 is dirty wound. So clean wound, example of clean wound are clean surgeries like hernia operation, uncomplicated hernia operation, thyroid surgeries, breast surgeries, orthopedic surgeries, ortho joint replacement operations, ortho surgeries like joint replacements are all clean surgeries. Clean contaminated surgery is a surgery. You contaminate. While doing the surgery, you are opening some cavity and slightly contaminating the wound. So clean contaminated example, for example, if I am going to do a gastrojejunostomy, truncal vaginotomy gastrojejunostomy, put a small incision in the stomach and jejunum, so that small amount of spillage will be there. Or doing an uncomplicated appendicitis operation, I will be ligating at the base and cutting the appendix. So uncomplicated appendicitis, unruptured appendicitis, and a gallbladder surgery with a small spillage, of bile. So that is clean contaminated surgery. Contaminated is, so clean contaminated is you are contaminating by opening the cavity which is already well closed. Contaminated is it is already opened. So please remember, it is perforated appendicitis. A duodenal ulcer perforation, just now the ulcer has perforated. A diverticulitis. So like that, which is perforated and it is contaminated by itself. Dirty wound, in which there is fecal contamination like fecal peritonitis, fecal contamination all over the peritoneal cavity, full of abscess, severe abscess in the pelvis or in the abdominal cavity. These are all dirty wounds. So these are the 4 types of wounds we have. So very simple, clean wound is a wound which is having no exposure to any bacteria. Clean contaminated, you have opened the bubble or some other structure like uninfected urinary bladder also comes here, you have opened for putting a tube inside, that is clean contaminated. Contaminated is already infected and it has ruptured by itself, that is contaminated. Dirty is worst wound. So now with these wounds in mind, now understand percentage of surgical site infection. When you operate these cases, percentage of surgical site infection you must know. Always we used to give in all surgeries 1 hour before surgery one antibiotic, that is known as 1 hour before surgery we give an antibiotic known as prophylactic antibiotics. So if you give prophylactic antibiotics, what is the percentage of surgical site infection in each? And if you don't give, percentage of surgical site infection is what? This is a table from Median Law, you should know it. So I can easily make you remember this by remembering 1, 3, 6, 7. That's all. It is what? Percentage of surgical site infection with prophylaxis 1, 3, 6, 7. When you give prophylactic antibiotic 1 hour before surgery, the infection rate is 1, 3, 6, 7. Percentage of surgical site infection without antibiotic 1%, 5 to 10%, 10 to 20%, up to 40%. You remember like this. Simple method. Though I am not accurate, this is easy to remember. We have to prepare in such a way which you can retain for at least 6 months for your exam. You should not read so accurately and so in depth and waste your time, because definitely you will forget those types of values. You should have some methods to remember for long period. So this is one such method. 1%, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, up to 40. 1, 3, 6, 7. These are the percentage of surgical site infection. Surgical site infection. Most common organism isolated is what? Now tell me, what is the most common organism isolated from a surgical site infection? It is Staphylococcus epidermidis. It is a normal skin commensal. That is the most common organism isolated in a surgical site infection. If you open any cavity or infrainguinal incisions, incision made below the inguinal canal, infrainguinal incisions, for opened any cavity or infrainguinal incisions, those cases the commonest organism is E. coli. E. coli is the commonest organism in these cases. Surgical site infection. What do you mean by define surgical site infection? Surgical site infection is defined as an infection which happens within 30 days of any surgery. For example, hernia operation done, within 30 days if you are getting an infection, it is surgical site infection. And up to 1 year when you keep a mesh or prosthesis. Surgical site infection is defined as infection up to 30 days, and if you keep a prosthesis or a mesh, it will be defined up to 1 year. Infection happening in an operative site up to 1 year. For example, you have done a knee replacement. The knee replacement that prosthesis gets infected up to 1 year is also known as surgical site infection. So surgical site infection is graded by many grading systems are there. Median Law mentions 2 important systems. One is Southampton grading system. Another is asepsis scoring system. Asepsis score and Southampton score. The Southampton score is a very frequently asked question. It is of 5 grades: grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. Southampton wound surgical site infection grading system. So I used to remember with the mnemonic EI-SPA. This is the mnemonic for Southampton grading system. There will be erythema in the wound. That is 1. There is inflammation in the wound. That is 2. There is serous discharge from the wound. 3. There is pus discharge from the wound. 4. And there is anatomical separation of the wound is 5. So Southampton scoring system is very simple grading system. 1 is erythema, 2 inflammation, 3 serous discharge, 4 pus, and 5 anatomical separation of the wound. Asepsis scoring system. What is this asepsis scoring system? So this is also a type of grading system which is more complicated, very difficult to remember. They won't expect you to remember this. So this is another grading system given in Median Law. If you want, you can remember it is actually asepsis stands for a mnemonic of A for additional treatment needed. A for additional treatment needed like antibiotics, drainage of pus, debridement of wound. A. S for serous discharge. E for erythema. P for purulent. The same thing which comes there in Southampton comes here. Serous discharge, erythema, purulent discharge. Separation of deep tissues is known as S. Another S is stay as inpatient, and I for isolation of bacteria from the wound. For this we give various points, and the scoring system is more complicated. Asepsis scoring system. Please remember, this is known as asepsis scoring system, in which we have multiple factors. Luckily this is not asked in exam so far. Therefore, stay in the hospital prolonged for more than 14 days. Remember that alone. More than 14 days stay in the hospital is taken into account in asepsis scoring system. Okay, so now this is one of the important causes of post-operative fever, post-operative period, the patient having fever. One of the important causes is surgical site infection. And post-operatively, a patient operated Having fever, what are the causes? So the causes of fever on first day, I used to remember by pneumonia first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day, I used to remember by this pneumonia. So A, B, C, D, and 5 looks like yes. 6 if you hit, you will burst with happiness. 7, you will go to heaven because there is a leakage. So now let me tell you what are they. A for A for atelectasis. What are the causes of fever in the post-operative period? It is A1 for atelectasis of lungs. One is for atelectasis, lung atelectasis. Patient is not breathing properly because of pain and therefore he develops lung atelectasis. This is lung getting collapsed. This can be prevented by using a special instrument, which is an image-based question. What is this instrument? Which will have balls inside. You have to blow and suck into this machine. What is this machine? We have to do exercises with this known as incentive spirometric exercises. So to prevent lung collapse, we have to advise them to do incentive spirometry. The first day fever is due to lung atelectasis. If you are not going to advise them incentive spirometry, they will go for pneumonia and consultation on the next day. So atelectasis of lungs. Two is for bladder infection. So bladder infection is nothing but urinary tract infection. The most common cause of hospital-acquired infection is urinary tract infection. That is why by the second day itself we should remove the bladder catheter. So the most common hospital-acquired infection is urinary tract infection. Therefore, please remove the Foley's catheter on second day itself. And third day, catheter-related infections. What catheters? IV catheters, like Venflan. The Venflan will cause thrombophlebitis. The moment you put injection, patient will complain of pain. So IV catheter-related infection is 3. So 4 is deep vein thrombosis. That is why we should mobilize the patient early. So you have to prevent the DVT. Prophylaxis for DVT is most important in surgical causes of fever. DVT is one of the important cause of fever on 4th day. We have to advise them early mobilization is the best method to prevent DVT. Or if the patient cannot be mobilized, we should apply PCD. What is PCD? Pneumatic compression device in the hospitals. ICU will have pneumatic compression device which will compress the legs continuously. Or we have to start them on injection heparin. Prophylactically, we should start them on heparin or low molecular weight heparin if they are highly susceptible for DVT. So atelectasis, bladder infection, catheter infection, DVT. And 5 is what we discussed. 5 is surgical site infection, which we are discussing so far. And 6th cause of fever is burst abdomen. The abdominal wound opens and the bowel comes out. That is known as burst abdomen. So the early sign of burst abdomen. What is the early sign of burst abdomen? Before burst abdomen, you will see one sign. What is it? Known as Salmon sign. Sudden gush of fluid will come out of the wound. Through the wound you can see 300-400 ml of fluid will be running out. That is Salmon sign. Please remember Salmon sign. Early sign of burst abdomen is Salmon sign. And these cases are usually due to some leak inside the abdominal cavity, or there is any collection in the abdominal cavity, gives up and the abdomen bursts up and the bowel contents come out. And 7th day, if a patient who has done anastomosis develops fever, it is usually due to anastomotic leakage. It is usually due to anastomotic leakage causes this problem. Okay, this causes anastomotic leakage. So these are the causes of fever: atelectasis, bladder infection, catheter-related infection, DVT, surgical site infection, burst abdomen, and leakage are the causes of post-operative fever. So at this point, let me tell you what are the factors which prevents wound healing. What are the factors which prevent wound healing? So a wound which is regularly healing well, why it is not healing well? There are many causes. So the important causes are hypoalbuminemia, hypoalbumin, the protein content is less in the body, diabetes mellitus, patient having hypercholesterolemia, patient having renal failure, patient having cancer, patient having jaundice. And old age, the patients who are old age is one other factor for poor wound healing. These are all factors: hypoalbuminemia, diabetes mellitus, hypercholesterolemia, renal failure, cancer, jaundice, old age, and poor surgical techniques. From the surgeon side, poor surgical techniques is also a cause of poor wound healing. How to prevent surgical site infection? This is a highly $1 million question. How to prevent this surgical site infection? Latest guidelines. So I am discussing the latest guideline on how to prevent the surgical site infection. So number 1, to prevent surgical site infection, 1 hour before surgical incision, we have to give prophylactic antibiotic. Please don't forget, 1 hour before surgery, we give them prophylactic antibiotics. Okay, number 1 point, prophylactic antibiotics given 1 hour before surgery. And shaving, what about shaving the patient before surgery? Shaving is not advised nowadays. It is not advised nowadays. No sir, we would not like to operate this place full of hair on the body, then how to remove the hair? We have to use skin clippers or epilators, and that too before shifting to OT. We should not ask the barber to come and prepare the previous day night. He will come and he will get payment and he will do a very rash scrapping on the abdominal wall of the side, and there will be staphylococcus epidermidis which will protrude out and will cause surgical site infection. That is why shaving is nowadays not advised. If at all you use epilators or skin clippers, skin hair clippers, avoid during surgery, avoid hyperglycemia during surgery. The blood sugar should not go above 200. It should be less than 200. Avoid hypothermia also. You should also avoid hypothermia in the operation theatre. Avoid hyperglycemia, avoid hypothermia in the theatre, and avoid contamination. We have to follow proper sterile precautions. Please follow sterile theatre precautions. As I showed you how you wash, how should you put apron, you should put apron without touching anything, apply the gloves. Sterile precautions should be maintained in theatre. And very important, avoid hypoxia, intra as well as post-op also. Hypoxia should be avoided. Avoid hypoxia. You should avoid hypoxia in the theatre, outside the theatre also. At least for 4 hours, patient should not go for hypoxia. And avoid hypotension. If there is hypotension, there is chance for the wound to get damaged. Avoid hypotension. And if the surgery is extending beyond 4 hours, we should give added antibiotic. Added antibiotic given if the surgery is extending beyond 4 hours. So antibiotics should be added if the surgery is extending for more than 4 hours. Give them antibiotics. So these are the things to do to prevent surgical site infection. So please don't forget how to prevent surgical site infection is a AIIMS question again. So let us see the PowerPoint pictures and slides. So this is a picture from Bailey and Love, slide from Bailey and Love. So what are the types of surgery and how is the infection rate, and what are the risk factors of increased risk wound infection, malnutrition, obesity, weight loss, metabolic disease like diabetes, renal failure, jaundice, and immunocompromised states like cancer, AIDS, steroids, chemotherapy, colonization of the back GIT, poor perfusion like in shock, foreign body materials, poor surgical techniques are the various risk factors of increased wound infection from Bailey and Love. Okay, just have an idea. Just no need to mug up and waste time. So what can be asked from this? So you just think what can be asked. They may ask you obesity is a risk factor of wound infection. So they may give you clean patient like that. And old age is also a risk factor. Okay, so these are the risk factors from Bailey and Love. So staphylococcus epidermidis is the most common surgical site infection, and in cavity open it is E. coli. So please don't forget Southampton grading system from Millian Law. Erythema, inflammation, serous discharge, pus discharge, break in wound are the 5 grades. And 3 is serous discharge, just for understanding. 3 is serous discharge, and this is the A sepsis score. A sepsis itself is ceremony. Additional treatment, serous discharge, erythema, purulent discharge, separation of deep tissues, isolation of bacteria, and stay as inpatient prolonged. And what are the causes of postoperative fever? I told you. Day 1, A, atelectasis. Day 2, bladder infection. Day 3, catheter infection. Day 4 is DVT. 5 is surgical site infection. 6 is burst abdomen. 7 is collection in the abdomen due to leakage, intra-abdominal collection, causing leakage. Some leakage is happening in the anastomosis, so that is another 7. How to avoid surgical site infection from Millian Law? The same thing I told you. You should follow proper sterile precaution and avoid hypothermia, hyperglycemia, and also please avoid hypoxia in operation theatre. And if the surgery is continued beyond 4 hours, we have to give another dose of antibiotic. For every 4 hours of extended surgery, added antibiotic is given as prophylactic antibiotic. So usually if it is an antibiotic prophylaxis, it should not be continued after 24 hours. It should be continued only up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, we can use only for cardiac surgery up to 48 hours. Okay. So this is the classical picture showing you burst abdomen. So this is high yield MCQ. What will you do for this burst abdomen now? How are you going to close this burst abdomen? The burst abdomen. In our days of surgical, when I am doing surgery PG, we used to do tight closures by taking an elastic. Tight closures we used to do in those days. But now the latest treatment is by means of one important device known as vacuum assisted closure device. This is the one we do in our days. Tension suture. This should not be done. What will happen if I do like this? If I do suturing like this will result in tight abdominal compartment syndrome will happen. Abdominal compartment syndrome will happen. Therefore, this should not be done nowadays. So nowadays the latest treatment is this vacuum assisted closure device. So in the opened abdomen we keep a suction type of device, vacuum assisted closure device, which will suck the fluid at a pressure of minus 120 millimeters mercury, and it will allow granulation tissue to form and the wound will gradually close. This is vacuum assisted closure device. So as per Southampton grading system, surgical site infection shown here is what grade? Can you tell me what is this grade? This is wound breakdown. So it is what? AISPA, EISPA. A for anatomical separation of the wound. This is grade 5. So this is grade 5 Southampton grading system. So 10 years after hysterectomy, patient presents with fever and loin pain. The problem happened in WHO surgical safety list. You can see a pad in the pelvis cavity. Where is the mistake happened in this? The mistake happened in this is they have failed to do proper counting during which phase? Sign in is before injection of anesthesia. Time out is before skin injection. Sign out is before patient shifted out of OT. So during this time, they failed to do proper counting of instruments. The sign out is the reason. So now you can see we have discussed 5 important topics in general surgery. The first topic we have discussed in this first session of general surgery. We have discussed the first topic is on nutrition. We have discussed everything about nutrition. Then we discussed in the second topic on the various points related to shock and blood transfusion. Third chapter we discussed in sutures and suturing techniques. And fourth chapter we discussed on operation theatre and operation theatre related questions. And the last topic we discussed is on surgical site infection. I request you to give students give feedbacks on any other topic you need in general surgery aspects. This session on of 5 to 6 hours session will cover chapter 1 to 21 in Millian Law. This I have focused more from chapters 1 to 21 on Millian Law. And anything you want more from these chapters which you feel will be asked in exam, please message me. We will add up in this section. Okay, thank you.